World War II was a conflict of immense scale. We often think of the great battles, the rumbling tanks, and the vast armies clashing on open fields. We remember the names of famous generals and the cities that were fought over with such ferocity. But beneath this visible war, another conflict was being waged. This was a war fought in the shadows, a secret war of spies, saboteurs, and code breakers. It was a realm of deception where a single piece of false information could change the course of history. These stories are not always found in the main chapters of history books, but they are just as crucial to understanding how the war was won and lost. They are tales of incredible bravery, cunning, and sometimes pure, baffling mystery. This hidden war was populated by a different kind of soldier. Their weapons were invisible ink, forged documents, and whispers in dark alleys. These were the ghosts of the war, the figures who moved silently behind enemy lines, manipulating events from the inside out and shaping the battlefield from afar. In the spring of 1943, the Allies were planning a crucial invasion of Sicily. The problem was that Sicily was the obvious target, and the Axis forces knew it. The island was heavily fortified, and a direct assault would be a bloodbath. British intelligence, operating from a dusty basement office in London, conceived a plan so audacious, so macabre, it seemed to belong in a work of fiction. The plan was codenamed Operation Mincemeat. The central idea was to plant false documents on a dead body and let it wash ashore in Spain, where they knew pro-German officials would pass the information to the Nazis. The first challenge was finding a suitable body. They needed a man who appeared to have died at sea, from drowning or exposure. They found their man in Glyndwr Michael, a homeless man who had recently died after ingesting rat poison. He became the centerpiece of their elaborate deception. The intelligence officers Charles Cholmondeley and Ewan Montague gave their silent agent a new identity. He became Major William Martin of the Royal Marines, a fictional officer complete with a backstory, a photograph of a fictitious fiancée, and personal letters in his pockets. They even included ticket stubs from a London theatre and an angry letter from his bank manager to make his life seem utterly real and believable. On April 30th, 1943, the British submarine HMS Seraph surfaced off the coast of Huelva, Spain. The crew gently released the body of Major Martin into the water, attached to a briefcase containing the top-secret letters outlining the fake invasion plans for Greece. The body was discovered hours later by a Spanish fisherman. Just as the British had hoped, the Spanish authorities quickly photographed the documents and passed them directly to German intelligence agents. The forged letters were so convincing that Hitler himself became obsessed with them. He ordered a massive redeployment of troops, including elite panzer divisions, moving them from France and even from Sicily itself. When the Allies finally landed on Sicily on July 9, 1943, they met far less resistance than expected. The man who never was had become one of the most important secret agents of the war. One of the most creative and bizarre units of the entire war, an American group officially known as the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, better known as the Ghost Army, a top-secret unit with a single mission: deceive the German army on European battlefields. Comprised of about 1,100 men, artists, sound engineers, actors, designers, their job not to fight but to create illusions. They used inflatable tanks, fake radio transmissions, powerful sound effects impersonating much larger US Army units. Masters of misdirection, creating phantom armies to pull enemy forces away. Unconventional tools arriving close to the front lines, beginning their performance. Inflating dozens of rubber tanks, trucks, artillery pieces arranged like a massive armored division. From a distance, the dummies looked real. Powerful speaker systems broadcast an army on the move. A library of recordings, clatter of tank treads, shouted orders, sounds of construction. In the world of espionage, some stories are so unbelievable they defy logic. The tale of Juan Pujol Garcia is one of them. He was a Spanish chicken farmer who despised fascism and with no training whatsoever decided he would become a spy for the British. Initially, the British rejected him multiple times, seeing him as an unreliable amateur, but undeterred, Pujol decided to become a double agent on his own terms. He approached the Germans in Madrid and convinced them he was a fanatical Nazi supporter who could create a spy network for them in Britain. The Germans bought his story completely and gave him a crash course in spycraft. They handed him a codebook. They gave him a bottle of invisible ink. They sent him off to England, not realizing he had no intention of ever going there. Instead of traveling to Britain, Pujol went to Lisbon, Portugal. From there he began to invent his spy network. He used a blue guide to Britain. He used a dictionary. He used a map. He created a cast of 27 entirely fictional sub-agents. In one report, he claimed his agent in Glasgow said men there would do anything for a litre of wine, not realizing Scotland was a nation of whiskey drinkers. The Germans, however, never questioned him. They trusted him implicitly. They gave him the codename Garbo because he was the greatest actor in the world. As the war raged on, Allied pilots flying dangerous night missions over Germany and the Pacific began reporting strange and unsettling encounters. They were not seeing enemy aircraft, at least not any kind they recognized. They reported seeing mysterious balls of light that would suddenly appear and fly alongside their planes. These lights, described as fiery red, orange, white orbs, would follow their bombers and fighters for miles, mimicking their movements with incredible speed and agility. They would appear, hover, then vanish in an instant. The pilots, part of a gritty, no-nonsense culture, were baffled and unnerved. They nicknamed these strange phenomena Foo Fighters, a term borrowed from a popular comic strip of the era. The reports were remarkably consistent. Pilots from different squadrons, flying in different theaters of the war, all described the same thing. The Foo Fighters did not appear to be hostile, yet their presence was deeply disturbing. Allied intelligence took the sightings seriously, fearing they might be a new secret weapon developed by the Germans or Japanese. Even after the war ended, no definitive explanation for the Foo Fighters ever emerged, becoming one of the first widely documented unidentified flying object cases of the 20th century. The Battle of the Atlantic was a brutal, relentless struggle. German U-boats, the infamous Wolfpacks, prowled the icy waters, aiming to sever the vital supply lines between North America and Great Britain. For Allied sailors, the unseen threat of a torpedo was a constant source of terror. But in this deadly game of cat and mouse, some events took place that went beyond the normal scope of naval warfare, hinting at secrets that were never meant to be uncovered. One such story involves U-530, a German submarine that embarked on a final mysterious voyage in the closing days of the war in Europe, a journey that has fueled speculation and conspiracy theories for decades. On May 8, 1945, Germany officially surrendered, and all U-boats were ordered to surface and turn themselves into the nearest Allied port. However, U-530, under the command of Oberleutnant Otto Wermuth, did not comply. Instead, the submarine vanished. Then, on July 10, 1945, long after the war in Europe had ended, U-530 suddenly appeared and surrendered at the port of Mar del Plata in Argentina. The crew was emaciated, the submarine's logbook was missing, the deck gun had been jettisoned, the crew claimed to have no idea what had become of the ship's official papers or its code-breaking Enigma machine. The most persistent theory was that U-530 was part of a secret convoy that had transported high-ranking Nazi officials, perhaps even Adolf Hitler himself, to a hidden refuge in South America. The Second World War officially ended in 1945, but its secret history continues to captivate us. The stories of spies, ghost armies, mysterious events are more than just historical footnotes. They tap into a deep human fascination with the unknown and the unseen. These tales are compelling because they are about individuals using their wits to overcome impossible odds, about the fine line between genius and madness, and about the moral compromises made in the name of victory. They are historical ghost stories reminding us that we do not have all the answers. As long as we are drawn to tales of intrigue, mystery, and the secret levers that move the world, the hidden war of the shadows will continue to hold its powerful, chilling grip on our collective imagination.